Friends, I'm glad to welcome you to our channel. Today we have a very unusual guest, Oleg.
Oleg Golubev has been in Phuket for more than 13 years. He was born in a small village in the Vitebsk region of Belarus, where he saw an elevator for the first time only as a teenager. Oleg devoted most of his life to music and DJing, and he once came to Thailand with only $2,000 in his pocket. He started out by renting a room in Patong and sharing a motorbike with a friend. Today, he builds residential complexes and villas in Phuket, develops more than 10 business ventures, and is considered one of the most prominent Russian-speaking developers on the island. But the journey from the DJ booth to owning his own construction business turned out to be more difficult than it might seem from the outside.
I have sincere respect and admiration for you, for the impressive business you have built here, because the massive online presence and the volume of sales you've managed to create. I honestly don't know of any other companies that are doing anything quite like that in this region. Today I'm going to ask you about this in more detail. Interestingly, Oleg and I once started working at the same company, which also connects us. In addition, Oleg is a very prominent senior developer here, and today we'll talk partly about your business and partly about how life has been treating you here. These will be some very straightforward and simple questions about how well you're doing here.
Let's have a great time. Ask any questions you want. I'm open and I'll tell you everything, show you everything.
Super. Tell me, when did you arrive here?
For the first time.
Yes.
It was 2012.
Did you stay right away or not?
Well, I actually came here, you could say, quite consciously. It turns out that a friend of mine back in Minsk had worked here before, specifically at that very same company. The one where you and I used to work together and first got our start in the industry. And accordingly, he actually went ahead and suggested the idea to my buddy that we should both come over here to find some good work opportunities down in Phuket. And in the end, it eventually came to light that, wait, stop. It really turned out that he had invited me to join as well. And basically, we were both still quite young and looking for adventure, so I just decided to myself, why on earth shouldn't I just give it a try and see what happens? I sold everything and left. That's it. So, at that point, there was really no other choice.
Did you make the decision before you got the job or after you tried it out?
Listen, well, actually, there are two sides to this coin. It seems to me that when it comes to Thailand, for some reason, a lot of people want to find some kind of job here, come over and expect that everything will be handed to them on a silver platter right away.
Yeah.
But it never works like that here. Here you have to come, adapt, maybe show what you can do or somehow prove yourself and so on. And then opportunities start to open up for you. Well, when I came here, I didn't have a salary at all. That is, there was only some kind of commission from sales, and that was the measure of results. You don't have time to ease into it.
Yeah.
When I was in that state, either stay or leave, after seeing the world, I realized, well, this is the best place on the planet for me.
It's like you had that realization.
Yeah. Well, it's been more than 10 years now. Yeah. This place truly feels like a real lived-in apartment. It is a two-room unit that spans about 60 square meters of space.
That's neat.
So this is basically a showroom. It's just that for some reason, my guys rarely bring people here. Maybe they just don't really want to let people into Phuket. This apartment is fully adapted for short-term rentals. Yeah, so basically the first thing is, for example, you wake up and you need to have breakfast, right? So, for example, you sit down, make yourself comfortable. There you go. So here, you have a full table that slides out if you want to work on your computer. Here you can turn the TV towards yourself. This place is 28 square meters. Yeah, so the space is optimized to the maximum. The table can be used as a coffee table or as a full dining table. So just push it, you don't even need to hold it.
Yeah, show it with just one finger.
Yeah. These apartments, when looking at them from a professional investment point of view, I think are the best action-packed investment options available. And here, of course, specifically right here, if we're talking about the sea view, this is exactly the kind of stunning view that you get. And that's why it's literally a mere 500 meters to the sea from here. Right now it's about 800. But in a straight line it's 500. Recently we sold the last ones for 4,200,000 each. So that's about 140 something, I guess.
Everything's fine. In many interviews you've repeatedly said that you came here basically with nothing. How true is that, really?
Well, it's true in two ways. The first time, well, again, with nothing means different things depending on your age and your situation, so it's a relative concept. The first time I came, I probably had about $2,000, maybe a bit more, something like that. And the second time, 200, yeah. So basically in 2016, at the end of 2015, I arrived. I actually had 6,000 baht and just, well, the promise that I would be hired at Diamond. That's it, nothing else. And that's how it was. And my understanding, my belief that Phuket is the place where I want to live and where everything is great, the best place on the planet.
What would you say was the hardest moment for you? And what was the most difficult thing for you overall?
Any crisis gives you a point for growth. In general, I believe, and many psychologists say as well, that there are two really major stresses: the loss of a relative or loved one, the death of someone close to you, for example, and divorce. That is, if you've gone through these two things, then it feels like you probably won't be as affected by any other major global stresses, like something that used to be a bug becomes a feature. Yeah, so it's the same situation, but it depends on the angle from which you look at it, right? So for me, quite the opposite. A time of crisis is precisely the moment when you need to gather all your inner strength and really live through it, and it will provide you with something truly valuable.
I've actually already calculated it, but for the viewers,
Yeah.
how much do you earn?
Well, listen, I have a base salary, which is, well, around 100,000 baht per month. That's not a lot of money, about $1,000. And of course, I also receive various types of bonuses and extra incentives. For me, it's more than enough. The whole situation really depends quite a lot on the actual state of my business. Yeah, so if my business is currently growing and expanding, then I can usually get something extra, like some kind of performance bonus. Even if it's just in a phase of slow growth or stagnation, at the end of the day, I'm still quite satisfied with it.
How profitable exactly is this construction business?
Well, it's a complicated question because the biggest problem is that it's a long process. You only see your profit much later, at the end. That's how it is. And probably these days, for some reason, many people think that real estate in Phuket has a 50% profit margin. I hear this from people a lot, but it's nonsense. Well, I think that a good figure is if a developer manages to get 30% after fulfilling all obligations, that's great. But then the question is whether it goes into management or not. Because if there are any warranty obligations, then in fact it can go even further.
Are you building with your own money or with the investor's money?
It's always a mix. Yes, it's always a mix.
What if you build with your own money, your profitability will be lower. When you build with investors' money, naturally
Well, here it's purely a matter of capital. That is as if there's no difference because money costs money, right? So the question is, in the end, who takes on the risk, right? That is, the developer is the one who takes on the risk first and foremost. Often many people, and I'm not devaluing anyone here, just stating the reality, often many people think they're taking on risk by buying 1, 2, or 3 apartments. Yes, the developer always takes on the biggest risk because it's their job to pull everything together, to piece it all together so that it all works out. And in the end, they only see their profit right at the very end.
How much of your money goes into real estate?
Always everything I have. I don't separate my funds from the companies. Actually, I do keep them separate. There's the company's cash. So that's not my money.
You made a profit.
But I don't get profit, I get a salary. A salary and a bonus. I never take out my profit.
You reinvest it.
Well, of course, I always invest in new land, in new businesses.
So, Oleg, could you tell us a bit about how you manage your team so that they stick with you?
Well, to be honest, I think you need to give them something more than just money.
How do you manage to do that? What do you give them?
I don't know. Probably faith, that's the most important thing. And actually, I think the most important thing is to find the right people for the right positions. That's the principle, segmentation. Because if people are just coming to work every single day without passion, then, in my honest opinion, it probably doesn't really fit into the overall design of a fulfilling life. I truly believe that people should genuinely enjoy their work and spend their time doing what they love most. For example, let's take a look at this stunning penthouse, which spans over 145 square meters of living space. And right over here, you can see this incredibly interesting and unique architectural feature located on the balcony area.
It's a large 2-bedroom.
3-bedroom.
3-bedroom?
Well, it was originally a 3-bedroom. Yeah. And this is the view.
Super. Wow, that's cool.
This apartment was bought at the pre-sale in 15 minutes for 2. Now it costs 25 at current prices if you look. And here you have the coolest view from the toilet. So you have a sea view,
That's just gorgeous.
I mean, the sea view from the bathroom is even better than in premium villas.
Where do you live now?
Well, right now I actually have my own luxury apartments. So basically, whenever people ask me exactly when I first got rich and so on, I actually earned my very first real money quite a long time ago while working at Diamond. Well, that was in my first project.
When you were still a salesperson?
Yes, when I was still a salesperson. Actually, as a salesperson, I always made more money than as a business owner. That is, unfortunately, the reality. So, well, I have 2 apartments of my own.
Do you live there as well?
Yes, well, from time to time. It all depends on the family situation, when I need more space and when I don't. So, in fact, I have a large 2-room apartment, but honestly, I'm the kind of person who's never really at home. I mean, I love being on the move. Movement is essential to me.
Tell us about how you first started in the professional construction business and how you earned your first significant amount of money.
Actually, it was a coincidence of circumstances. After traveling extensively all across Asia and spending time working throughout Europe, I had this persistent internal feeling deep down. I was wondering where I wanted to live. That was it. I just didn't know. So when you become a kind of cosmopolitan, you've been to different places, you start to realize that you can choose. People who live in a box, who only live at home, right? They don't even have that question. But when you've already traveled, been to many places, it's like you can choose where you'd like to live. I had a period like that myself. After working in Europe, living in Greece, traveling around Europe and all over Asia, I realized that for me, Phuket is the place where I feel really good. Unfortunately, or rather not unfortunately, but I used to think there were many such places in the world. In reality, there aren't. Places where you have the right climate, people, safety, and also opportunities. A lot of people now say, well, there's a lot of construction in Phuket, a lot of businesses. They say that everyone is here, that people have some kind of bubbles in their heads, that in reality, this is just the beginning. Phuket was underestimated for a long time. There just wasn't probably any significant capital coming in here before, but now it has arrived and this place is full of opportunities. And it just so happened that I was staying in St. Petersburg and had kind of hit the reset button on my life already. So, in fact, I didn't really know what to do. And the only thought I had was to end up in Thailand. And that came true. I came to work for a developer in the office, specifically at Diamond. When I joined Diamond, a new team was being formed there. And the Russian market was in very bad shape at the time, because this was after 2014. So it was still kind of a recovery period. So as a result of that situation, I was initially brought on board as a sales manager. 3 months later, every single member of the team was unexpectedly fired. There was a day, a kind of judgment day, when we all came to the office and everyone was let go, except for me. I was the only one left. And I asked my manager, why wasn't I fired? He said, well, you seem to be the only one really trying, while the others weren't. And that's just how I am. I truly love the projects I work on, regardless of whether I am a founder or simply a dedicated employee. I have a genuine passion for the work I do, and I also deeply respect people who truly love their own work as well. And that's why, as a manager now, it's very easy for me to see that love in people's eyes. And of course, back then, it really helped me a lot.
Did you make your first serious money here?
No, everyone defines serious in their own way. I haven't earned it yet.
Define serious for me. How much is that?
That's exactly the point. I'm less about the money and more about the idea. Personally, I mean, right? I mean, sort of. And of course, I've worked my whole life for capitalization. So I understand that money, in the sense of just money. I realized a long time ago that just having money in your account, it flows out, crises happen, there are some kinds of devaluations.
What is capitalization?
As far as I am concerned, capitalization represents a couple of different things. First, of course, is intellectual capital, which can't be built quickly. For example, the team. I've been working with the same loyal team for a long time. Several of the people have actually been with me for 9 years now already.
Where are you going? So this capitalization in your mind, what is it?
Well, actually,
How much is it? What is it? I don't know. Like what exactly?
sort of.
What do you want to build?
No, I'm basically building an ecosystem for myself, right? So in general, of course, the global idea is to build a great development company that could last a long time. Because if you look at Phuket, the reality of Phuket, it's kind of a great playground for starting a business, right? for growing it. But at the same time, there still aren't that many really big things that have developed yet, right? And it's not because there's something wrong with the market or anything like that. It's just that it's a complicated business in itself. There are a lot of factors that affect you. And for me, it's very important to have this kind of stability, you know? So like when I'm not interested in doing small things just because they end very quickly. Now, if we are talking about money, for example, right? Again, through my sales department, we've had capitalization in the form of contractual obligations, totaling almost 5 billion baht, right? I mean, obviously, it's not the kind of money that we took directly and so on. 5 billion.
Those are good numbers. I thought it was more.
No, well, the reality is that we currently have 2 billion deferred. So right now, we have almost 2 billion baht in unrealized contract methods. So in fact, when we realize everything, that's the kind of capitalization we'll have. That's it. I'm just telling it like it is.
So you're not investing in real estate, but in a business. That's how I see it.
Of course. Well, look, even now we're sitting in a studio that's fully equipped, for example.
The price?
Here, for example, each camera costs about $2,000 and each lens costs about $1,500. For instance, all the equipment here in total, this whole setup costs roughly $15,000. Plus there's intellectual property. Again, there's a team that can work with all this, because if you give all this to someone unprofessional, they'll still do a very poor job. So it's also important to have high quality professional teams and so on. This is also an investment, essentially. You could just do nothing at all.
Where do you get the energy for constant filming? You film a lot.
Or rather, how should I put it? I have a team. The thing is, I'm not the one doing it. Many people might think that I'm the one handling all this. No, I'm not. I just come in and sit down, like we arrive and sit down in a ready-made setup.
But still, that also takes energy.
That is the question.
You appear in a lot of shoots.
Well, I get invited and I think it's important, and it's kind of a dialogue. Again, this is probably a new and refreshing kind of openness, which shows that sometimes everything is perfect and sometimes things just aren't perfect at all, for example. And I think it's important for people to see the real you, to see how you actually look, whether everything is okay with you and so on. For me personally, it is an ongoing process. I believe that this is also essentially my own form of psychotherapy. Talking to someone, finding something for yourself, noticing certain things. Obviously, I've already come a long way, and often people need to have a dialogue with me, right? But I also find myself constantly needing to be nourished by a completely different and fresh perspective. Because maybe for me, podcasts or other similar activities really help me achieve that goal. But in reality, we are living in what is truly the era of digital content.
Listen, you're not a money-driven person. I see that for you, business is about enjoyment and self-fulfillment.
Yes.
It is, it's life,
Yes.
It's a process.
Indeed.
So right now, in a certain way, you're actually much closer to Asians, you know, because Europeans tend to be very goal-oriented individuals overall. By the way, I'm still partly a goal-oriented person myself.
Yes.
And even realizing this truth, I still struggle to train myself to truly appreciate the process more often. But I really feel like you are someone who knows how to enjoy the moment.
Yes.
Do you feel good right now today?
Absolutely, yes.
That's very rare.
There is more than enough money for everyone in this market. So when we reach a state where there aren't, conflicts or struggles for bread anymore, there are simply people who are very good at navigating this and people who aren't as good at it yet. And actually, competing against smart people is great. I mean, you can work alone without a team, but you'll hit the limit of your own 24 hours.
Yes.
That's it. You're awesome. You're the best at everything. You'll do it better than anyone else. You're a born salesperson and all that. But you still only have 24 hours. And physically, you can't handle more than 2 clients a day. And if you try to do more, it becomes toxic because you'll start doing a bad job. When everything is going great for me, I tell myself it won't always be like this. Right now, everything's going great, yes, but calm down, good job, that's cool. Don't let it go to your head. This will pass and there will be another stage. And when things are tough, it's the same. It passes. And what's important is to build a base of assets. If it's not cash, that's bad. You need everything to keep growing, turning into some kind of assets, and for you yourself to keep developing new approaches. I have this big fear of staying a small company, and that's just not in line with my business principles. So I need it to be a corporation. I need there to be lots of people, for there to be movement. If that is not there, then it is like, I am just not really interested. And yeah, so what is the point for me then? I mean, I can earn enough money for myself to live on. You know, it just doesn't give me any drive, nothing at all. And so the growth ends up being kind of ridiculous. With your own personal money, well, if you're a competent real estate agent in Phuket, 3 deals a month and 30 deals a year is enough to easily provide for any family. So basically, you'll be living very well. Oleg, I'm coming to you again with a video interview. You've got some action going on here.
At least let me get dressed.
No, I mean, right now I'm just patching you in right now.
I placed an order for a man's head, please.
Let's go. Let's walk through for now, and then Oleg will turn everything on for us here and show us all the beauty. There you go. Yes, super. This is actually the music studio itself. Here it is. And this, well, this isn't about DJing. It's specifically about music production studio. This one costs 1,000 baht per hour now because the equipment here is also more advanced. And basically, since I understand all of this, I created different zones. So this is the area where you can write a track from scratch with vocals. If you want, you can make some kind of cosmic music here thanks to the modular synthesizer. This is the peak of engineering, when electricity is transformed into music. So you can do a whole range of things like...
Oleg, I don't understand anything, but it's really interesting.
Looks cool, right?
It looks really cool.
It looks like a spaceship. In real time, there's a distinct humming sound in the machine and I can control it endlessly doing something with it. So this is creating music on the fly. You can even activate the device right here and start jamming along together with some of these built-in synthesizers. In the professional world of the DJ industry, to achieve any truly significant results, you have to make a lot of compromises with the demands of real life. You hardly ever see your family and you have to constantly be on the road. I mean, I love to travel, but I love to travel for pleasure, not for work all the time. So in this industry, I'm kind of on the other side. I'm doing what I enjoy. And when you enjoy what you do, the right people gather around you. So this place is completely managed by Oleg. Oleg is our director of operations here and oversees the facility. There's a separate company here that handles things. So we provide the rental of all this. Plus, drummers come here. We have guitarists playing here and DJs play in the DJ booth as well. So we'll show you now.
Do you know what all the equipment here is worth?
I'm not sure yet, considering everything. There's an apartment here, right? So something like that.
I thought it was 2.
Well, now it depends on which one, right? So here we have our wall of fame. Absolutely talented and unique artists from all over the world come here. You're from Odessa, right?
Odessa and Oleg.
From Odessa. We just recently had Olga Korol here. She's one of... Where is she? Here is Olga. She is now recognized as one of the most famous underground minimal DJs performing on the global stage. Yeah, and she travels a lot. She and her husband were here recently as well. And well, in general, absolutely different artists, mostly more niche ones. Here in this part, I like to refer to it as the extensive DJ equipment museum that we have here. This is a piece of equipment that is honestly no longer relevant in today's world, as it's very old school and outdated. So if you go ahead and press this button right here now, you'll see that we actually have these physical discs inside, right? Here you can see they look exactly like this.
But is all of this working?
Everything works, yes. And since we actually have DJ courses here, and today's DJing is primarily focused on digital music, sometimes we teach them on some older equipment so they can truly understand the fundamental value and how it all works in general, you know? So that is how it is right now.
This is the second episode where I feel like a child.
Yeah, well, that's really quite impressive. We also have a vinyl washing station. It's a separate piece of equipment that cleans records.
Could you please simply explain how scratching is done or what it is?
Well, this isn't exactly the right record for that.
Does that damage the record?
No, please, you can try it yourself.
Hey, that's cool. So you can play this separately along with the music, right?
Of course, you just put a separate record here and...
Where'd you collect all of this?
Well, it's a continuous search at various flea markets. Somewhere in Japan, Bangkok, all over Japan. Mostly from Japan. This is the absolute finest DJ equipment in the world today. So if you go to Capa del Mar today, or if you go to some Ibiza clubs, you'll see exactly this equipment everywhere. And that is why we do things this specific way, so that people come out of here with skills and real talent, as we teach them the proper way. And in addition, when professionals come to Phuket, they all end up here because we are the only such space in all of Southeast Asia.
Every Tuesday we have an open house night. It's an evening for bringing together music people, not only from Phuket, but from all over the world. We often have guests who come either to perform at clubs or just to relax, and they are pleasantly surprised by a place like this, which is always nice to see. It motivates us to keep moving forward. And on Tuesdays we have 4 open slots for DJs. Whoever gets there first gets to have all the fun, so to speak. They bring their friends, play music, other people come to enjoy themselves, network, and some jam in the production studio. In general, it's an evening for connecting. We want to unite with everyone who is in any way connected.
Can people just come to listen?
Sure.
And what time does it start?
From 7 to midnight.
And it all started when, at some point, I just had way too much equipment at home, and I realized I had nowhere left to put it. So, the question arose to create a brand new space. That is how it all started. In the beginning, it was just for myself. And then it gradually evolved into this phenomenon.
All right, Dodik, we will split all the profit 50-50. But Semyon Markovich, I want 70. All right, you talked me into it. We will split it 70-70. Are you considering investments in a new project?
Of course, always. Never.
Stops. From what amount can someone approach you?
It's probably not about the amount here. It's more about some kind of personal connection. So the value is based on sympathy.
Exist? But still, from what amount? Obviously, if someone comes with $100,000 and says, here's an apartment.
$100,000 and a flat, we'll provide it. It'll be great.
And what's the cost of a big talk with you?
Listen, in Novoket, right now everything comes down to the cost of land, for example. These days, it's probably hard to do a good project for less than 5 million. I mean, with less than 5 million, you can't really get anywhere. It really doesn't matter whether we are talking about luxury villas or a Honda dealership or a large hotel or something else entirely. So even if you calculate the costs based on those same 5 million, you are looking at about 20 million for a more or less decent plot of land per array.
100 million.
Just the land alone is 100 million. And that's before we've even done anything, So that's 100 million baht, about $3 million. But there's this magic number of $10 million. That's the kind of starting capital for Phuket development, $10 million. Here, the question again is what else besides just money does the partner bring to the table, right? I mean, there are many factors. So there's financial capital, there's specialized industry expertise, and maybe even access to other funds, for example. Again, there are several different models. Some people can build, and then there are those who just build a lot in advance and then try to do something with it afterwards. It is important to remember there are developers who build using the sales fund, and what they don't sell, they later transform into something else. I always do a mix. For example, I believe it's a bad idea to build something that isn't in demand. That's my personal opinion. What's the point of making a building that doesn't sell? It means you need to change the product.
If someone comes to you and says, you have an unlimited budget, as much money as you want, come on, let's build something meaningful.
I would like to ask, what exactly is the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is for it to be economically viable and sustainable.
For him, it will be very important to go down in history or to show that he was the one who personally constructed it. And as for the money, for it to always be there. A small profit won't bother him.
Listen, well, first of all, I would probably, since I already have experience with this kind of master development, yes. So I really don't believe that you need to construct and develop some kind of singular monolithic idea. I would do it in the format of sort of micro cities, each with different infrastructure. This is something that our market still doesn't understand today, since everyone is focused on condos and villas. These are basically the only two products that are popular right now. Of course, there are also townhouses, but they can be considered closer to villas, to the villa segment. But right now, we're sitting in a blue building. So, for example, blue today is setting a rental price of 880 baht per square meter. If we project this onto the construction of a complex, that is, if we start, the calculation is always about what's more profitable, to build a condo or, for example, to build a commercial space that's in the right location and will actually be in demand by the end user. For example, when you build a condo, all the infrastructure is on you anyway. meaning at least 30% of the total area is taken up by common spaces, and then you lose at least another 30% to land. Subtract parking and all that, and it turns out that 50% of your building stock is gone. In the end, you're basically building from the square meters that are actually sold as apartments, and that's why the price is what it is. That's why it's $4,000 or $5,000 per square meter, because when you buy 1 square meter, you're also buying all of this, right? If we are talking specifically about commercial spaces, there is a building where the finishing is not done yet. The tenant handles it themselves. Yes, this works for each specific business project, especially where you do not need to do anything super extensive or complicated. In these cases, there is no need for expensive technical raised floors or anything else like that. So in fact, as a business unit, for example, commercial real estate is a great investment. Yes, it's just that the market hasn't matured to that point yet. For now, it still wants to play in the tourism segment. That's why I think ideally you should first create this kind of magnet in the form of commercial property. That's actually what I'm doing right now. In other words, that's how it was for me from the very beginning. Some ideas went according to plan, some didn't, and that's why there are certain challenges in implementation. But we will still continue to move forward in this direction, launching new commercial spaces, because they are absolutely essential for quality management in the future.
I didn't know you had a department there.
We only opened it in September. Saudi Cap. We only opened it in September, and actually it's already shown great results.
That's cool.
Even though we didn't really want to get into this, but let's say my business is like AI, we're learning.
But it helps retain clients and actually brings in new ones, by the way.
It's all a process, yes. It's all one big ecosystem. And the third major business direction here is the field of marketing and media. So we successfully managed to build up our very own comprehensive and efficient content production factory with our dedicated team.
Did you set up your own podcast studio here?
Yes, that is correct. Well, again, it is completely mobile, meaning we can relocate it whenever necessary. But technically speaking, the entire configuration belongs to us, right here with AdiCap. And actually right here with me, I have our incredible Superman. His name is Title. Title, you are truly my superstar, and I want to show you exactly who it is that creates all of our content. He is a very professional and highly talented person who is responsible for everything you see here.
That's why the staff love Oleg.
I have a personal principle. I try to provide and create as many jobs as possible for Thais. Pisha. And if you look at all our podcasts, they were all edited by Thai people.
Cool.
Without even understanding Russian, all the content that we make, It
actually really does indeed.
Honestly, I can't even begin to imagine it. I just don't know.
I can't really imagine how this Thai guy can do it without knowing Russian.
We were just hanging out in the apartment with you over at CNC. This is how it looks for him now. He handles all the transitions using AI and so on. So basically, and right here what we have is that she actually assists us with all our various podcasts. Here we have a whole studio like this. When you come in here, I'm a tech geek myself, so I came up with this whole system. Often the bouquet is from Monaco itself. Yes, for example, like this will be the Asian Monaco. Well, no, of course, that is a somewhat incredibly harsh comparison. Yes, exactly, the bouquet will be an absolutely top-tier premium bomb, the most premium in all of Thailand, yes. But you simply cannot compare it to a place where there are only exceptionally wealthy and affluent individuals. I think that's how it will be. Bang Tao is premium. Everything around Bang Tao has added value because of Bang Tao. Luxury breeds luxury. People want to be close to luxury. Kamala is in a unique type of hybrid state for now. Does it have a chance to move into this premium market segment? It certainly seems like it is heading in that direction. I'll say, but how do you transform what is already there, this sort of traditional semi-Thai Muslim way of life, and change it into something else? It is kind of unclear, but it seems to be working out somehow. So it looks like it's moving in that direction somehow. Therefore, it's likely that Kamala has a chance to connect with Swinang Mang Tao to this, let's say, premium format. It really seems to me that this is entirely possible. That's it. Patong. Everything is quite clear with Patong. It is the heart of our tourism, filled with fun and nightlife. There is really no point in expecting any kind of significant transformation there. It will always stay exactly like that. You only talk about investments there if it's people who are absolutely crazy about that kind of fun. I actually know a few examples just like that. By the way, for those people, nothing else suits them after that kind of fun, and I respect them for it. That's their choice, for example. That's it. That's why there will always be all sorts of small beaches like Olja or Three Trang or Freedom or some Lime, the same part. It's already a played out game there too. Basically, yes, meaning Kata Karon is only for classic tourism and the infrastructure isn't ready for residency. Absolutely, even saunas and steam rooms are closing down during COVID. Yes, it's just because there are simply no people and the real estate can't accommodate any kind of residency. For example, that's why this is what classic tourism will be, and in the future some new hotels will probably appear, maybe even some kind of condominiums. But what's the point of living in a purely tourist area? What's the point of a condominium in a tourist environment? There should be hotels there, because that's what they're made for. The south, let's focus on them for a moment. I think further development should happen in the economy segment, but with quality that is not super expensive, but at the same time, it would make sense for the audience to buy both as a residence and as an investment. But it's kind of a strange situation because the land costs the same everywhere. So what's the difference? It's like in the luxury segment, the land costs just as much as it does there. But it feels like there really doesn't seem to be much of an audience there that wants luxury. And it seems like some kind of change needs to happen there, like let's say a price adjustment for the land, for example. But probably it's what we were discussing earlier regarding the Thais, that they're just not used to it. So maybe it's some kind of magic. Something needs to happen there. So
That's an interesting question.
yes, so then I actually went even further down south, like to Chalong, and I think it has every chance to succeed. It's really great because there's a very large residential market there. So maybe these are all still some small condo complexes with private houses or some other kinds of projects for local residents. Plus there are many villages and so on. Phuket town. It's very cultural and, well, probably still not really for foreign investment. It will still be loved by Thais in the future. That's the entire eastern coast. It's a huge market. You can work with it. There is land up to the beach. The views aren't swimmable, but they're great. And in terms of infrastructure, it's really excellent. A road is being built in Paklok from the monument to the airport. So there will be a large audience of people who will want to go there simply because they won't need to drive in. These are the traffic points, right? So that's why, in principle, I think the market is big. It's just that a lot of the land is in the green zone, and that's why you can't build high there. And so for some, the economics will work out. For others, probably not so much. It's profitable to build, and then moving north, specifically in Ition, there isn't that much land. Overall, it's closed off by the mountain itself, so it's very limited. So whatever gets built there, if everything is done correctly, it will be profitable for you ethically. And then further from Nayang to Maicao, these are really cool places, great beaches, great opportunities. But of course, you will need a significant amount of long-term funding for that. Investing there today with a 10-year perspective will be very profitable.
Where would you build your next project?
For me, it would probably depend not so much on the location, but more on the idea. Yeah, I mean, I would like to, but right now I already have something to build, so my head is there for now. And if there's a cool idea and a clear understanding, well, again, I like that. In general, I like these kinds of gated communities where everything you need is inside. Probably I would also consider Panga, since people have been saying for a year now, you have to go to Panga. But that's not really the case. I mean, it's a very long-term investment, and those who invest often understand that well.
I really
like it, and as someone who is very much about the future, yeah, in general, I really like it and find it interesting, and I'm ready to consider all sorts of opportunities there. It's just that the infrastructure will come much later.
To diversify your available money, to put it somewhere besides business, you invest?
Well, in what I understand, for example, PMET, I have a music studio. That's my personal...
Is it about money? I thought it was just for the soul.
It was truly just for the soul, but originally, it's not exactly about money, if you look at it. Money disappears on its own. Money needs to be in something. For example, a camera you buy adds value. You see? And it will either bring you content, you can earn money from, or it will lead you down a different path entirely. That is, you bought it and sold it and you have that's liquidity. It's the same story with musical equipment. When you buy the right musical equipment, it's not like Bitcoin, but it's like gold. We finish where we started.
We finish here. Guys, thank you for watching until the end. Like and subscribe. The algorithms are working very hard these days. Every bit of engagement from you is very important to us. Be sure to write in the comments section and ask any questions you have. Let us know what you would like to hear about in our next episode. Oleg, I want to start a tradition like this. We could do something, I don't know, either provide some value to people.
And
We can provide a great deal of value for you. Maybe we can help promote and showcase your projects, or maybe there's some specific resources that you might need or something you're looking for. And maybe you can offer something unique to our viewers. What exactly could that be for us?
for anyone who has watched this video, for example, you can reach out and write to Artem directly, and we will, starting from right now today. If you make a deal on any of the apartments at the current project, I will automatically give you a special 5% discount on the price. Yes, so basically, you just need to tell Artem that you came specifically from this video, right? No, 5. Of course not. I mean, usually there are some furniture packages or something like that, yes, but 5% is a good discount for today. The second point, if we're not just talking about buying real estate, if you're an investor and you want to invest in projects, some kind of future in Phuket, something unusual, then I am very happy and open to it for any kind of business collaborations. In other words, we are building a kind of community here. And so, again, reach out to Artem and he can arrange a meeting with me if needed. Well, it's likely that in this video it was clear that I have a broad base of knowledge, for example, as a local resident of Phuket, as an entrepreneur, as a developer, and also as a musician. I do many different things, so it is likely that the value I can personally provide and offer from my own experience, for example, to one of your subscribers, is a joint lunch meeting or a consultation about one of the specific industries or professional fields that I am involved in, that were mentioned in this video. So let's put it this way, I'll leave that choice, that responsibility to you. If someone needs a consultation from me or a lunch, you can organize it whenever, and you can also join us. I want to tell you,
This is an absolutely invaluable consultation because the knowledge that Oleg has gained from his extensive experience is truly worth a great deal. Oleg, thank you. I found it very interesting. I genuinely enjoyed it. And once again, I felt like a child.
super. I'm glad your channel is growing, and I'm sure that the audience watching you are people who are intelligent and reasonable, people who are interested in the reality of what's happening here. So,
Tough.
super.
Thank you.